Pokemon facts are cool, but obscure Pokemon facts are even more cool. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at some obscure Pokemon facts from every Pokemon generation that there's a good chance that you don't know. Starting things off in Generation 1, I've got a couple of facts, and the first concerns the scrapped badge ranking system. Courtesy of Cut Content website, The Cutting Room Floor, within the leaked source code of Pokemon Blue that was discovered a few years ago, is a ranking system for the badges from Generation 1, which would have ranked the overall prowess of a Pokemon trainer. This ranking system seems to be from a very early point in development, due to the badges that it uses not being badges that are used in the final games, and there being 9 badges in this list instead of just 8. Also potentially indicating the total number of gym leaders was once different as well. The badges in order are the Thunder Badge, the Shell Badge, the Citigarba Badge, the Falcon Badge, the Chill Badge, the Friendship Badge, the Rose Badge, the Fireball Badge, and the Gold Badge. The ranks in question that these badges would award upon earning them are also in order: the Egg rank for no badges, the Chick rank for 1, Bronze for 2, Silver for 3, Gold for 4, Petite Captain for 5, Captain for 6, Petite Master for 7, Master for 8, and finally, Excellent when the 9th and final badge was earned. In Pokemon Yellow, meanwhile, a really interesting thing happens with Vaporeon, as it is actually programmed to learn 2 moves at the same level. Vaporeon is able to learn both Haze and Mist at level 42 in Yellow version, but due to Pokemon not being able to learn 2 moves at the same level in that game, Vaporeon will only ever learn Haze. Despite this, however, there is a way that you can get Vaporeon to still learn both of these moves, because if you take it to the daycare and it reaches level 42 there, this restriction will be bypassed and Vaporeon will then be able to learn both Haze and Mist at the same level. Next, we're gonna go from the region of Kanto to the province of Westild, and look at none other than Folkachi. This cute little boy is my mascot, and he's kinda obscure because he's got time travel powers, but also he's just now available in this super amazing plush form, and he's available right now at histrobishop.com. Another super cool ability Folkachi has is helping to keep the channel going and videos happening through purchases of the plush, including helping my bigger projects like the Histrobi Chronicles monster catching video game that I am currently working on, which he features in. Folkachi comes in more than just plush form though, because with every order of the Folkachi plush, you can also get this amazing Folkachi promo card as well. It's super high quality and cool, and it comes from the Histrobi Chronicles trading card game that I'm also currently working on. And it's super exclusive because the only way you can get it is with this promo. Both the plush and the card are honestly super fun and super high quality, and they help the channel to continue to grow and do fun things like this when you pick one up. And not only will you have an adorable plush and an amazing card, you will also have my eternal appreciation and thanks. So give it a look with the link in the description. Thanks so much to everyone who has grabbed one already, and now let's go ahead and get back to the obscure facts. Jumping ahead to Generation 2, Sneasel is a Pokemon who actually had its design changed during this generation, as in Gold and Silver, its colors were different to its current look, and it did not gain its actual final colors in-game until its design was updated in Pokemon Crystal. However, this was actually more of an oversight than an update of Sneasel's design, because its original color scheme in gold and silver is actually a remnant of its beta design that was discovered in the 1999 Nintendo Space World demo of the games, where, as you can see, even though its design is completely different than the final product, its color palette from that time period is the exact same as it is in the final gold and silver. In Generation 3, we're actually going to look outside of the main series to Pokémon Ranger, although it does have an interesting connection to the main series games as well. Courtesy of the cutting room floor once again, within the data of the game, it's revealed that a ton of key characters from the main series were planned to be included in Ranger, including Brendan and May, both in their Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald outfits, Red, Leaf, Professor Oak, Professor Birch, Lance, Steven Stone, Misty, Brock, and even Todd Snap. It's unknown for certain how these characters were planned to be used, but it's clear that a lot of interesting content was planned for Pokémon Ranger that didn't make the final cut. Ranger was actually released on the very tail end of Generation 3, leading into Generation 4, and in Gen 4, one detail that is extremely minute, and so most people would probably miss it, but is still nevertheless pretty cool, is that while in battle, if you have a Pokemon on your team who is close to leveling up, its Pokeball icon will shake while viewing the summary screen for your team. For Generation 5, like Gen 1, I have a couple of facts to share. The first is that apparently falling in line with Black and White being a soft reboot of Red and Blue, and many Unova Pokemon being pretty clear remakes of Kanto Pokemon, there is also an NPC who is a pretty clear remake of one of the most iconic NPC trainers ever. At the Dream Yard, you can battle a kid named Youngster Joey, who uses a couple Patrat, who in Unova is the clear equivalent to Rattata, making this kid also a pretty clear reference to the infamous Youngster Joey from Johto. Yeah, I know he's not exactly from Gen 1, but it's still a cool callback to Pokemon's early days. This Youngster Joey and the one from Johto also have the exact same Japanese names as well, which further adds to the validity of this reference even more. Another very neat attention to detail in Black and White concerns the Pokemon Daycare. As is the protocol for the Pokemon Daycare, if you have an egg waiting for you there, the man from the daycare couple will typically signal to you in some way that your Pokemon have laid an egg. In Black and White, more specifically, he will give you a shout whenever you're passing by the daycare on Route 3. However, even if your Pokemon have laid an egg, he will not call out to you if you have a full party of Pokemon, and therefore could not accept the egg, which isn't necessarily a helpful detail to be completely honest, but it is a pretty cool attention to detail that I very much appreciate Game Freak for including. For Generation 6, I have an interesting one that actually relates back to Generation 5 as well. So you may be aware that pretty much every Pokemon game contains a lot of data within it that gets copy-pasted from previous Pokemon games, and while it sits within the game's files, it ultimately goes unused. This is true for X and Y as well, however, there is an interesting bit of info within some of this unused data that potentially tells us something interesting about Black and White too. Courtesy of the cutting room floor once again, within the data of X and Y sits some unused and leftover trainer data from Pokemon Black and White 2. While all of the trainers are named unknown here, likely due to it being unused and copy and pasted data, based on their teams, levels, and held items of these trainers, it's possible to identify who is who. However, as the cutting room floor notes, some of these trainers' teams are slightly different to the final Black and White 2, which could mean that this data is actually from an earlier version of the games, which makes sense if it's going unused and is just copy-pasted into X and Y. All of this is to say that there is one interesting difference amongst these teams where Hugh would have used a Flygon on his team in the Victory Road battle against him instead of Bouffalant. Hugh does use a Flygon in the final games, but not until the post-game, so this seems like it was probably a last-second tweak by the developers, but still, it's pretty interesting to find out about in X and Y of all places. For Alola's fact, I've got something cool concerning Minior. Minior, as you may know, has a multitude of different forms that come in several different colors, but these aren't just any handful of colors because they're actually the colors of the rainbow. This makes for a neat little tidbit all on its own, but it's made all the better and more fitting due to Minior being an Alolan Pokemon, with Alola being based on Hawaii, whose nickname is the Rainbow State. And speaking of the colors of Pokemon, concerning Galar's box art legendaries, Zacian and Zamazenta, they actually get their names from their shiny forms. In an interview with Game Informer, Sword and Shield's director Shigeru Omori mentioned the origin behind these Pokemon's names, saying that the lore behind them is that these Pokemon were simply rumors amongst the people of Galar, and every time someone would catch a glimpse at them, they would refer to them simply as the Cyan and the Magenta in an attempt to describe them. And then namifying those phrases is what gave us the names Zacian and Zamazenta. However, in order for this name origin to be accurate, it would have had to have been the shiny forms of these Pokemon that the people of Galar saw, as it is the shiny forms of Zacian and Zamazenta that are explicitly colored cyan and magenta, while their normal forms are more of just a standard blue and red, respectively. I don't know how the people of Galar seeing these Pokemon's shiny forms over their regular forms works within the lore exactly, but it is a pretty cool detail in my opinion. And last but not least, we come to Generation 9, and I actually have a fun fact about Pokemon Legends ZA to share. When watching the reveal trailer, we actually should have known it was a Legends game right away before the title logo was even presented to us, because both Legends games actually feature the drawing of the central town that the games revolve around in their reveal trailers, meaning that Game Freak was teasing Legends ZA's status as a Legends game right away with a really cool reference to Legends Arceus. This also means that if we see any more drawings in future trailers in the coming years, we might be able to know what to expect. That is all I have got for today though, so be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video and let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Also be sure to subscribe, and if you want to support the channel more to help videos like this to continue to happen, you can check out my Pokemon remixes over on Spotify or wherever you get your music, which is also super duper appreciated. With that said, I'll be back with another video soon. Thanks a ton for watching this one, and I will smell you guys later.